At the beginning of the year, the Hyundai Creta got a major facelift and feature upgrades along with the addition of a more powerful turbo petrol engine with dual clutch transmission from the 3-row Alcazar SUV. Earlier this year in January, Hyundai launched the facelifted Creta, and bang, in February, it sold the highest number of Cretas in any month. Over 15,000 units sold and sitting on around 80,000 bookings. Now, to create more problems for the competition as well as give more options to the customers, this is the new top-of-the-line flagship N Line variant of the Creta. Now, N Line is something that we've always heard about. In 2021 came the i20 N Line, in 2022 came the Venue N Line, and now 2024 is time for the Creta N Line. So what is it all about? Well, lots of things. The more important thing is the introduction of a manual gearbox version alongside the turbo engine. So let's find out more about this. The same engine variant has now been introduced in the N Line spec. In Hyundai world, N stands for Namyang, place in South Korea where it has its R&D facility. Also the place where it creates N, or performance variants of its cars. N Line means it isn't the full hog performance upgrade, but changes that give it a slight advantage over the regular turbo petrol variant. So first up, let's see what are those. So let's go. But before we go, do subscribe to the Car and Bike channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of the action from Car and Bike. So what's new visually? Well, let's look at the front of the car. The headlamps are more or less identical. What's different is the front grille along with the N Line badging. The bumpers are all new. They're a different shape. The air intakes are larger. If you come to the side, you can notice the first thing are the red accents which go along the floorboard. Also comes with 18-inch alloy wheels, one size bigger than the one you get on the regular Creta. So the exhaust note of the Creta N Line is one of the things that differentiates it from the regular standard Creta. Also the fact that it gets a manual gearbox option now, which was not available with the turbo engine in the standard Creta. That and the fact that the suspension has been tuned, the steering geometry has changed, and a lot of visual elements added to make the Creta N Line stand out from a regular Creta. It comes in 6 colors. 3 are dual tone, with the roof being black. This matte grey color is the unique option with the Creta N Line. One of the first things that you notice as you enter Creta N Line, the black interiors look quite cool, look quite sporty, especially with the red accents that it has on the dashboard, in the stitching, on the seats. It looks really nice. The steering is small, nice to grip. You can change the steering angle. It has the rake adjustment, but not for reach. That's stationary. There is a good balance between minimalism and the number of buttons that have been used. Personally, I pretty much like the cars having buttons because they are easy to operate. But this is again the same in the Creta. The screen, you have a nice large screen in the front. It's actually 2 screens made to look like one for the instrument cluster and other for the infotainment, navigation, which can also be mirrored onto your instrument cluster. If there is something missing, then I think the stocks look a little ordinary. While it has auto headlamps and even auto high beams, fog lamps are missing on this car, which is a bit of a surprise. You get speed sensitive wipers as well, but not auto wipers, so you need to keep them on. But they are speed sensitive, so depending on the intensity of the rain, they will go faster or slower. But they won't start by themselves and you will have to start it. Otherwise, the buttons on the steering wheel, easy to access. We've seen them in the other Hyundais as well. Everything is easy to reach out for. You have wireless charging, you have seat cooling, and more or less all the features are nicely covered in this car, including the panoramic sunroof, which is voice operated. It has a full suite of 42-point safety features as standard. So it has the mandatory 6 airbags plus electronic stability control, electronic parking brake with auto hold and even hill assist control. Well, they miss out on a manual handbrake here, which is a shame for a performance car. While a Creta N Line is more about driving, so the driver's seat is important, But if you are going to sit passenger in a Creta N Line, you won't be disappointed. It is still a spacious place like in the regular Creta. No changes except for the fact that you have an all black interior. Most of the features have been carried over. The Creta N Line is available in N8 and N10, which are the top two variants of the turbo as well. So most of the features are in place. Things like sun blinds for the windows or even cushions, and the center armrest, all the features are still there. You get twin Type-C charging ports as well. The legroom is fine. The seat, as in a regular Creta, is best for 2 people. 3 will be a bit of a squeeze, especially with the center tunnel, which is a little protruding, and the way the seats are designed. But apart from that, the fact that you have good experience in terms of good ride quality, and the overall cabin NVH is quite controlled. So if you are being driven in a Creta N Line, again, it won't be a disappointing one. You will enjoy it. The 1.5 turbo petrol churns out 158 brake horsepower and 273 Newton meters of torque. This 4-pot is no slouch and manages to make it a sprightly performer, along with the 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. Steering geometry has been improved further. The Creta, from its first generation itself, was a substantial upgrade to the Hyundai steering feel in terms of feedback and heft. This one may not feel a significant jump like that, but still keeps it engaging, which means you feel in control and it inspires driver confidence. This is further helped by the tuned suspension, which is marginally stiffer and keeps the SUV sitting firmer on the road. This makes things easier for the driver, especially at high speeds, even on uneven and wavy roads. It manages to toe the line the driver wants. Now, since the car is available with 2 transmission options, you either get the dual clutch transmission as mentioned earlier, or you get this 6-speed manual. Now let us try with how the 6-speed manual works. The power and torque figures of this engine for the N Line as well as the regular standard Creta is more or less the same. It's actually identical. What differentiates it is, of course, a slightly different exhaust note, and the ride quality, it's a bit on the stiffer side. Now this engine is no slouch. Once the turbo kicks in, there is a lot of power at your disposal. The shifts of this manual, the short throws, it's crisp, it's precise, but you need to really work it. As long as the turbo doesn't kick in, it feels a little bit underpowered. Once it is there, then hitting 3-digit speeds is not a problem. So on the engine front, nothing much changes. However, on the steering front, you can feel the slight increase in heft. It feels more precise, and you're more confident going into higher speeds. Considering this manual gearbox option is exclusive to the N Line, it will probably make more sense for enthusiasts to go for this. However, having driven the dual clutch transmission as well, we can tell you that's also an engaging option, probably a bit more practical as it gives you the flexibility of using the N Line as an everyday car, even for regular work. And of course, on the weekends, it's always there for pleasure. The larger 18-inch wheels have not hampered the ride quality. It feels supple. It's a bit on the stiffer side, but as everyday use, you will hardly notice much difference. It's still pliant, with the suspension tuned a bit to the stiffer side. Body roll has reduced a bit. However, you still get the plush ride quality of an SUV on this N Line. It's not too extreme. If you were to talk about comfort, the Creta N Line is almost at par with its regular turbo version. And while we are at it, although this is more of a performance-oriented vehicle, fuel efficiency is obviously important. The company claims a fuel efficiency figure of around 18 for the manual version, which is the one I'm driving, and around 18.2 for the dual clutch version. But of course, these are test figures. In real world conditions, like the way I'm driving right now in and around Gurgaon, the onboard display is showing me a figure around 12.6, which I think is acceptable for a compact SUV as a regular driving vehicle. Now, you must have noticed the red brake calipers on the Creta N Line, and they're just not for cosmetic purpose. This gets disc brake on all the wheels, and it's really effective for the kind of power that this car has. It has good bite and it's pretty linear in deceleration, and that is what you want in a car this price. There's a lot of finesse in the way it stops as well. With the price tag that's roughly 30 to 50,000 more than an equivalent turbo DCT version, the Creta N Line commands premium of around 3 to 5%. Of course, there is no manual version in the standard Creta. While there is no performance upgrade in the absolute sense, it does have significant differentiation to the regular Creta that makes it stand out, and if that is a pull to you. It also gets a more engaging drive that Creta owners are known for. Now, in the Hyundai scheme of things, an N Line is just over what they call a foundation model. If you look at the hierarchy, it is the foundation model, which would be like a Creta. Then you have the Creta N Line. Then there is a Creta N, which of course is not there in India yet. And then comes the Rolling Lab and the Motorsport division. However, this is the closest you can get to a performance SUV in the sea of compact SUV segment. Makes it stand out. I would rate it a 9 out of 10.